Perfect. Good morning, everyone. In here, out there, welcome to the Temple of the Living God here in St. Petersburg, Florida. How's everyone doing? Yay! It's going to be a wonderful day. Happy spring forwarding. If you haven't done it already, you're late. So we're going to start off with a great song, and I think you can all feel this. We all need each other every now and again. So here we go. Lean on me.
And sing along if you want.
Yeah, you know the words. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fail those of your needs that you won't let show. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Band. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you don't understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
If there is a load that you can't bear, that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, and I'll share your load if you just call me.
No, you can't call me when you need a friend.
Call me.
Oh, baby, now.
Call me.
If you need a friend,
Call me.
just call me.
Call me. Call me. Yeah.
Every week here at the temple on Sunday mornings, we always have such a nice program, and the best part, other than the music, is the speaker. And this morning is no exception. We have Lynne Forrest speaking to us today. She's going to talk on the topic, our inner community connection. I have a little story here that I've condensed because I realize we don't have a lot of time. This is a true story written by Robert Peterson, and it's called The Sandpiper. She was 6 years old when I first met her on the beach near where I live. I drive to the beach, it's not very far, and she was building a sandcastle or something. She looked up at me, her eyes as blue as the sea. "Hello," she said. I answered with a nod, really not in the mood to bother with a small child. "I'm building," she said. "Well, what are you building?" I said. I didn't really care, but I thought I should ask her. "Oh, I don't know," she said. "I just like the feel of the sand." That sounds good, I thought, and slipped off my shoes. A sandpiper glided by. That's a joy, the child said. It's a what? It's a joy. My mama said sandpipers come to bring us joy. The bird went gliding down the beach. Goodbye, joy, I muttered to myself. And off I walked, feeling depressed, my life completely out of balance. What's your name? She said, following me. Robert, I said. Mine's Wendy. I'm 6. Hi, Wendy. She giggled. You're funny. In spite of my gloom, I had a laugh, but I walked on, and her magical giggle followed me. Come again, mister, she called out. We'll have another fun day. The next few days passed with more sadness on my part. I need a sandpiper. I need to make myself feel better, so I headed for the beach. There she was. Hello, Mr. P, she said. Do you want to play? What do you have in mind? I asked with annoyance. I don't know. You tell me. We continued on with our conversation, and finally I said to her, where do you live? And she said, pointed to a row of summer cottages. Strange, I thought, in the winter to live in a cottage. Where do you go to school? I asked her. I don't go to school. Mommy says we're on vacation. She chatted and I went along, but my mind really wasn't on what she was saying. But she said goodbye. This was a happy day. I had to agree. It did feel better. 3 weeks later, I rushed to the beach in a state of panic. I was in no mood to see Wendy. I saw her mother on the porch and felt like demanding she keep her child at home. Look, if you don't mind, I said crossly when Wendy caught up with me, I'd rather be alone today. Why? I turned to her and shouted, because my mother died. Oh my goodness, did I really say that? Oh, she said quietly, then this is a bad day. Yes, I said, and yesterday and the day before, oh, go away. Did it hurt, she inquired. Did what hurt? I asked, exasperated with her. When she died. Well, of course it hurt, I snapped. I strode off. I hoped I wouldn't see her again. A month or so after that, I went back to the beach, and she wasn't there, and I felt kind of guilty about the way I treated her. So I went up to the cottage she had pointed out, and I knocked. Hello, I said. I'm Robert Peterson. I missed your little girl today and wondered where she was. Oh, the lady said, yes, please come in. Wendy spoke of you very much. I'm sorry she bothered you. I know she was a nuisance. Please accept my apologies. Oh, no, I said. She was a delightful child. I started to realize that what I had said to her wasn't very kind. The lady said, I have something for you. Let me go and get it. She handed me a smeared envelope with Mr. P printed in bold, childish letters. Inside was a drawing in bright crayon hues, a yellow peach, a beach, a blue sea, and a brown bird. And underneath was printed, a sandpiper to bring you joy. A gift from a child with sea blue eyes and hair the color of sand who taught me the gift of love. Life is so complicated. The hustle and bustle of everyday trauma can make us lose focus about what is truly important or what is only a momentarily setback or crisis. So this week, show your love. By all means, take a moment. I wish for all of you a sandpiper. And now we have a beautiful song by Carol and the Goodfellows.
Hello. And I wanted to piggyback off of the Invisible Dave. He's not here. But I wanted to let you guys know that if you are thinking of attending his yoga class, hey, there's Dave. Hey, Dave. And I just noticed the other day at the Walmart that they have yoga mats on the clearance rack. Yeah. Just so you know, starting at $5. Go see the Walmart. All right, let's do a song. And funny that this song just goes perfectly with what April just read to us. So thank you, April. That was awesome. Here we go. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
We don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world
Needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. We don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen now, if you want to know. The world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some.
Oh, but just for everyone.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm just always so blown away about how the universe, source in the universe, brings things together. Like these songs and the story that April just read about the sandpiper. I thought my topic was, the title that I'm prepared to speak on is one that says, Building Your Community from the Inside Out. That's what I want to speak to you about today. And but before I do, I'm going to start it off with a story. I'll tell you a story. This is a purportedly true story, founded in the works of Goddard, Neville Goddard. Anybody know who that is? Yeah? If you don't know, I would recommend him highly. But yes, and so he tells a story about the blind woman. And the blind woman had been working a job. She lived in a big city, and she would take the subway to and from her job, and she'd been doing that for 15 years, as long as she'd had the job, and knew this commute well. It was about a 15-minute commute to work every day. And then she got the word that the city was putting in new routes, and that her getting to her destination was now going to require 3 changes where you get off one bus and get on another, 3 of them, and it was now going to take an hour and a half for her to get one way to her job. But being a student of metaphysics, she just accepted reality as being what it is, and she sat down and meditated about exactly what her creative approach to this needed to be. How am I going to do this? And so she meditated, and she just kept coming back to car. I need a car. Of course, she's blind, so she needed a car and someone to drive the car. And so she began her vision quest for a car. She meditated, and she took it into a deeper state. She relaxed her body completely, and began to visualize, feel herself. She, in her imagery, she knew it was a black car, and she knew that it was going to be a man driving it. She could feel that. And so she imagined the upholstery. She could feel the upholstery of the car herself in it. She reached out and touched the clothing in her mind, reached out and touched the clothing of the man who was driving, and smelled the car smell, heard the traffic, and smelled the gasoline where she'd just gotten filled up, and she just took herself through the sensory ride of being in this car. And when she got to work in her vision, as she was getting out, she said to her mind, she heard herself, she envisioned herself saying, "Thank you very much for this ride to work today." And she heard him say, "The pleasure is all mine." And she did this like 2 days in a row, where she took long meditations. And she was telling a friend about it, that she was envisioning a car with a driver. And her friend said, "Well, I actually know someone who mentioned to me recently that he had been someone who helped. He really enjoyed working with seniors, and he was looking for some kind of volunteer, something to do with seniors." And so she went and she called him up, and her friend did, and said, "Hey, I've got a senior in need, and a woman who is blind and blah, 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 needs a ride to and from." And this man immediately said, yes, I'll do it. And so he went, he called up the blind woman, and they confirmed that, yes, this was going to be great. He was going to come and pick her up and take her to work. And he went down to his local pub, his favorite pub, where he always poured out his heart to the bartender. And he was telling the bartender about this wonderful thing that had happened, that he had found a gig to be a volunteer. And the bartender got so excited about helping this blind lady out. He said, "You know what? I want to help too." He said, "How about if you take her in the morning and I'll pick her up and bring her home?" And so that's how it worked out. Every morning, one would pick her up and take her, and this went on for years, where they grew as a community. They created a community of three. So when you think about this woman and her envisioning it, rather than getting into poor me, or what I call victim consciousness, rather than bemoaning, she did that instead, which would engage her own chemistry, inner chemistry. Because what we know is that all three of these the blind woman and the two helpers, were all tapping into. Did you know that we have a pharmacy within our body, right? We have these chemicals that work on our behalf. They modulate and work to adjust our feelings, our moods. And and the queen or king of all of it, I like the word queen when we talk about it, is oxytocin. Oxytocin is known as the cuddle hormone because it generates love. Oh, we make love. Oh, that now has a double meaning. We make love. We literally create a potion for love. It's called oxytocin. And do you know what brings oxytocin, right, like kicks it in big time? Acts of kindness. Acts of kindness. So here these fellas had volunteered, and she was receiving kindness, which also generates oxytocin. Feels good. Feels good to receive an act of kindness, right? We like that. But did you know it's the giver that gets the biggest charge, that gets the most serotonin? Oxytocin primes it up. There are other neurotransmitters too that have their serotonin. Serotonin is provides rest and relaxation. It opens up dilates the blood vessels and opens up the vessels so that the oxygen can flow, so that you can relax and rest. And then we have endorphins, which are associated with exercise. Like if you've ever had a runner's high, You get high off of the endorphins. And did you know there's actually something called a doer's high? Can you imagine that? Well, what would that be? That would be someone who likes to take care of others, likes to do things for others, likes to help out. They get this runner's high, this helper's high. Actual real thing. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, so if I do an act of kindness, what can that be? That can be anything. A smile is an act of kindness. Holding the door for someone, speaking kindly. Doesn't have to be a big fancy thing, but just some sort of act of kindness. And to be involved in that. Do you know the best treatment for depression, because it triggers the serotonin, is an act of kindness? Because serotonin, again, treats depression. It's what they put in a lot of antidepressants. So, so being able to access that. But so when I think about creating community, one of the first tools that I need for that is knowing how to give. And you know what? That's been something that I'm a neophyte at that. You know, some of you that I know, Carmen being a prime example, I mean, I just can't even imagine what your oxytocin level must be. Now we start talking chemistry like we know something, right? But yeah, just all of the giving. And so as we build a community here, isn't that what we want to do? Isn't that what we're doing? Don't we already have a community? But are you participating in that way? Just imagine. Did you know that not only, the thing about this is that it's free of charge, so it's a cheap high, you know? You get to feel good, and it doesn't cost you a thing. That's pretty cool. And you also, it does things like it brings your blood pressure down, right? When you are giving. Did you know you have less aches and pains when you're doing for others, when you're helping out? It actually decreases your pain in your body. Did you know that it builds your immune system? These are physiological things that have been tested with these chemicals. This is not just somebody saying, well, we think it. No, it's been proven. We now know for a fact that we can, through our choice of response. And this brings me to a formula I often talk about. It's the reality formula. Do you remember? It goes like this. When you believe what you think, whatever that is, when you believe what you think, you will feel as if it's true. That's where the chemistry gets. You start feeling the feelings. And that's the chemistry responding to what you're thinking. And so you feel what you feel, and then you react out of it. Your behavior is going to come out of that feeling, out of that belief. So there are also a set of chemicals called cortisol. Cortisol is the fight or flight reaction. So we can also have that, and of course there's you can see why there would be reason for that. Sometimes you got to run fast, you got to escape the monster, whatever, you got to get away, and so you need this. But every time that we put ourselves into a negative frame of mind, we're revving up, we're triggering the cortisol, and so our body tightens and we get tense and tight, and we walk around, and it's hard to feel good when we are acting out of that negative mindset, right? So what is the treatment for that? It's oxytocin. What was that whole thing? What the world needs now is love. the world needs now is more of your oxytocin. It's like, what if we gave more of that? What if we really become conscious of building through acts of kindness? You know, that we have a tendency, I have a tendency to think in terms of what I'm going to get from it. What's it going to do for me? It's going to bring me love. It's going to bring me connection. And so that's so much about what's going on. In my work, I had put together many years ago a program for children, families, and you've heard me talk about the guiding principles, and I have a set of guiding principles for kids, and I'm not going to tell you all of them. There's 10 of them, but whenever I've talked about these to people, the adults say, you know, I like that set of principles even better than the other. I can understand it better. You know, like number 1 is the one that says, we do not have to believe our thoughts. We can choose what thoughts to focus on. Imagine getting a hold of that information at the age of 5. You know, the first time I ever gave a talk to a large group of people, I said that to the whole group. You know, do you know you don't have to believe what you think? When I looked around the room, here's what they looked like to me. Like, you know, got to think about that. What do you mean? Of course I have to believe what I think. But the truth is, you don't. And if what you are believing is creating cortisol, if it's bringing up negativity for you, if it's bringing up hard feelings, then I would ask, what I've learned to ask myself when that happens is there a kinder way to see this? Because what I'm learning how to do is to be kinder to me, because if I'm kinder to me, I'm going to be more kind. It's going to be easier to be kind to you. And that's why we build it from the inside out. We build it through, like the blind woman did. She built her utopia in that moment, which was a car. She built it in her mind. She didn't whine about it. She didn't play victim. She didn't call people up and say, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do any of this. I mean, you know what, if it works, you know. But she got quiet. She went in and she imagined herself receiving what she needed. And within 2 days, she had it. Wow. And this is how we can begin to interact with ourselves. If we're using our envisioning, if we're thinking in terms of what we want and building that image and that vision. Does this make sense to you? Doesn't it just like go, oh, to me it's like, duh. There's another one here that was relevant to this. There's all of them are. But this one, when we change the way we act towards others and ourselves, by the way, they act differently towards us too. Duh. We show them how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves and them. So, if I'm not kind to me, if I'm not loving me, if I'm not loving in my vision for me, if I'm talking to myself in negativity and belittling, then I suffer. And so the first step in terms of outreach to others is begin to practice every day being kinder to you. Journal, write letters to yourself about what you would like to have and where you'd like to go. Hello? Oh, somebody's calling in here. Yeah, so let's practice. Want to? How many are ready? Go today. And act of kindness without telling anybody. Just, breathe it in and may it be so. For it is so. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Lynne. Thank you for blessing us once again. Yes.
Acts of kindness, thank you.
Yes. So we're going to move into our time of tithes and offerings now. And if you would take your tithes and your gifts and bless them as I invite the ushers to come forth at this time. Let us pray. Infinite source of all life, we give thanks for the opportunity to give of our hearts as we share our love, our kindness, and we acknowledge that divine love moving in and through each and every one of us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Amen. And now we will close out our service in just a moment, but I wanted to share with those of you who are online that you can also participate in donating. Of course, if you're on the website, you'll see the donate button there. And if you're on YouTube, you can go on to our website, which is www.tlgtemple.org. And then you'll see where the donate button is. And so we thank you in advance for that. And so let us listen to Carol and the Goodfellows as we close out our service.
And we want to listen to you too. Oh, it doesn't have to be in the program. You know, you can hear us. You know the song. We did it last week.
Find your people.
You gotta find your people. Yeah, you just gotta remember that line. That's all you gotta remember. Find your people. Find your peeps. Right, Easter's right around the corner. Find your peeps. They're already on the stores. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we go with that line.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel at home. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that won't let you lose your soul. You gotta find your people, the ones that get the joke.
Yeah.
Who understand what you're saying for a word is spoken. You gotta find your people that put the needle in the groove. When you're together, got nothing to prove. When you're together, got nothing to lose. In a world of strangers, don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you'll find yourself.
You ready?
You gotta find your people
That'll call your bluff. Who'll ride along when the road is rough. Here we go.
You gotta find your people,
The ones that make you feel equal. That pick you up, that don't put you down.
help you find your way through the lost and found. In a world of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone, everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you'll find yourself. The ones that understand you, the ones that lend a hand to you, the ones that don't demand anything from you.
Here we go.
You gotta find your people.
The ones that make you feel alright.
They tell you the truth and wish you well. You gotta find your people, then you'll find yourself. You gotta find your people, then you'll find yourself. You gotta find your people.
Again.
You gotta find your people.
One more time.
You gotta find your people.
Here we go, last time.
You gotta find your people.
probably sitting right next to you.
Amen. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad we found you. Now come find me in the lobby at the bookstore and by the snacks. Happy Sunday. We'll see